and 2 years ago started Storyvine. And the idea was everybody has a story to tell, and video editing is incredibly hard and incredibly complicated and incredibly time-consuming and expensive, which, as you put these things together, you know. And I thought, there's got to be a better way.
Well, what motivated you? I mean, where did you see a need to do it? Where did you get the idea from?
In 2006, I started a company called Episodic Studios, and it was the hand-built version of Storyvine. And the basic idea was I had an instinct that short-form video stories were going to be important, 3 to 5 minute stories, and that if I could find a way to highly templatize show formats, just like they do a sitcom, right? They always have the same format, but in a very short form, that I could create lots and lots of shows, on lots of different subjects. And it seemed like a great idea at the time. The problem was everything was manual. I had to deal with people individually, and people are complicated. I had to deal with all of the video assets, which are large, complicated files, and they're messy. And then even though I had things templated, I had to build each episode by hand. And what it really meant was that it didn't scale. 2 years ago in May, I decided, hey, wait a minute, what if you could automate everything? What if you could automate the video production, automate the handling of all of those assets, and really automate even the structure of the storytelling, so that all that was left was a simple set of prompts, not unlike karaoke, where you get prompted to follow the bouncing ball and tell your story. So for real estate, we've created an app called Broker Video Maker that allows a broker to walk step by step through creating a broker profile or creating a property profile. And they just have to turn on the camera, follow the steps, answer some questions, and about 5 minutes later, a professionally edited video is automatically produced and shows up in their email.
Now, you did a walkthrough presentation with me online on Skype. Why don't you describe my reaction, which is better than and then I'll say what I was thinking. But why don't you talk about what happened?
Okay, well, as I recall it, I'm making some of the facts wrong here. I was walking you through using the app, and we pulled up a simple interview, and I said, okay, record this, and you did, and you were a very good student. And then I said, okay, go to the next step and record this, and you might have made a mistake or two, and that's part of the idea of the software, is you can make mistakes along the way and just re-record. We're only keeping your best take. And so we got to the end of recording the 3 or 4 steps that were in that particular template, and I was waxing poetic about something or other, and you kind of interrupted me, and I said, now, Kyle, I don't know. I think this is all good and fine, and it seems good. But can I take these assets and, I know a little bit about iMovie and Final Cut Pro, and I want to take these assets and I want to do things like throw in a lower third and all of this sort of stuff. And as you were saying that, I was looking at the system to see if your video was finished yet. And right as you were saying that, I noticed that your video had finished. I said, Howard, why don't you check your email? And you said, oh, okay, fine. And you started playing it, and your video introduction started playing, and you went, oh my God! And then you saw yourself, and you started laughing, and then a lower third came up with all of the text you had typed on, and you go, oh my God, you hit a home run! So I had a feeling at that point it was kind of doing the thing that you wanted it to do. So that was a pretty good moment.
Yeah. Now again, I wasn't even aware that I was going like that. But it was really neat. Now, you went out and went the whole 9 yards on this. And for anybody who hasn't seen my videos, all my videos start out, well, if you're watching this, then you've seen my video. Duh. But it starts out with the music and the intro and all of that. And it was there. This was all done in 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. It was back to me. And one of the things while I was trying it out that I liked about it was that you added some of the interesting nuances that a professional who does videos would know about, that a broker doesn't have to know now.
Correct.
Because there's something called the rule of thirds, that rather than us, as we're probably standing right in the middle of the video, you're not supposed to be in the middle.
Well, but there's two of us, so one of us
Right,
is on each side,
yeah.
so I think we're okay.
So I mean, you have that built into the template, and I was going, oh, neat. That's like really exciting that you do that for me. You don't have to tell people to do it. And the most exciting part of it all is,
I have no idea where you're going with this.
well, last night after 5 drinks, you were telling the B-roll.
The B-roll. So, okay, if you don't know what B-roll is that moment, you very often see it on newscasts where the newscaster starts talking to the camera, and then they say, well, there was an accident on 4th and Alameda, and then they cut away to the accident scene, and the person is still talking, so you hear them still talking, but you see, usually slow motion footage of, the accident scene or whatever it is. And so, yeah, what we've done is we've incorporated a lot of those professional touches. One of the core philosophies of Storyvine is let the professionals who do professional video design the templates, so that all you have to worry about as a broker in this case is telling your story. So if you're introducing yourself as a broker, you're talking about a property. My philosophy is all you should have to worry about is talking about that property. That's what you know. That's what you do every day. So with a Storyvine template set up like that, you just talk about the property, talk about the features you like, and then all of those professional touches are actually predetermined. They're sitting in a template ahead of time, waiting for your content to come into the system. And once it comes in, the system knows what to do, and it edits it together, and you look like a pro. You look like you took 2 or 3 hours to put together that video, and you didn't have to do really much of anything.